it's not that too much masculinity or toxic masculinity is the problem. The problem is an absence of masculinity. Told guys, hey, if you follow this stuff, you're going to get girls and they're going to want to sleep with you. And what they do is they'll go and plant girls in the nightclub that are prostitutes. They targeted the word simp. And all that a simp is a guy that is getting an unequal exchange of value for his effort and resources put into a woman. Rich Cooper comes up. There's a video about simps. And the context of my video, if you look at it, is basically the messaging is something along the line of, this is an unequal exchange of value. You look foolish doing it. Take your time, effort, and resources and invest it in yourself and make yourself a better man. And imagine going from 15 million views down to 2 million views. That's a significant drop. I didn't complain about it. You never heard me say anything about it publicly. I'm just mentioning it now because imagine being called a male supremacist for telling guys, don't be a pussy, basically, is what it boils down to. That's what it is. That's all I'm saying. If you read my book, you know who I'm talking about. He's a guy that was adopted in that family. The adopted father died at his age of 3. And he was a guy that had a spaz and did a whole, like mass shooting thing, sort of stuff like that. And in every single case, when you look at them all, when I did my research on it, I think it was like 28 of the last 29 school shooters, there was an absence of a masculine male role model in the household. So it's not that too much masculinity or toxic masculinity is the problem. The problem is an absence of masculinity. But these groups, they want to soften you. They want to weaken you. And they want to silence the voices of anybody that's doing anything to sort of improve that. And that's what my core tenets have always been, right? Become a better version of yourself. Go out there and put a dent in the universe. Take ownership. Become a better man. And then they go on to talk about the Russian mano-swamp, unmasking the dark side of the pickup artist community, dangers of toxic masculinity. I have an article which I'm going to publish on my X platform that I wrote a couple of years ago about the mano-swamp. It's in depth, and I talk about all the dumb stuff that I saw happen. And one of the things is you get these pickup artists that sell these courses, and a lot of these guys have ended up in jail, or they've done like disgusting things, like told guys, hey, if you follow this stuff, you're going to get girls and they're going to want to sleep with you. And what they do is they'll go and plant girls in the nightclub that are prostitutes. But that's not even the worst part. The guy organizing it tells his assistant, and I've seen the screen caps of this, to send those girls to his room so he can have his way with them first before they end up at the nightclub and have to perform their work for the nerds that he's telling to regurgitate words. Like, this is the level of crap that goes on in that space. Then it goes on to talk about profiting from hate, social media spreading misogyny, hate, women in the service of male supremacy. They actually created, it's not in this one, but they created a, what do they call it? A male supremacy scale or something like that, or a toxic masculinity scale or something like that. And then they weighed the creators in that other report that I was in that you can't find anymore. I wish I had printed it up. And then they weighed all the creators on that scale, and they signed like a numerical value saying this is the most supreme male of the group, all the way down, to the bottom, sort of thing. And the reason why I got sucked up in that, I'll tell you in a second, let me just take a sip here, was because they targeted the word simp, right? And all that a simp is a guy that is getting an unequal exchange of value for his effort and resources put into a woman. You see it with OnlyFans, right? Like that girl, Sophia Rain, I think is her name, or something like that. She just announced in the last week or so that she made $44 million last year in OnlyFans fees. One of her biggest contributors paid $4 million to her at $10 a month. I mean, you can do the math. There's a lot of them out there. But none of these guys, she doesn't even know that they exist. Like, they're just a paycheck to her. There's no risks to her. There's no risk of like any of the standard stuff that would have happened 100 years ago. Now she can freely post pictures of her butthole and make a whole bunch of money. And these guys pay for it all, thinking that at some point they're going to recognize, like they're going to be recognized by her. Maybe she'll, I don't know, they'll win one of her contests or something like that. You see those screen caps on social media all the time where they're talking about, this gal's like, oh, one of my subscribers bought me a Tesla or something like that. And then she's standing there beside it. And then the guy writes a comment beneath, like, I'm a subscriber. Like, I just paid $50,000 for a car for you or something like that. And they're pissed off at it. That's what a simp is. It's an unequal exchange of value. In the past, the exchange of value between men and women on sexual marketplace was generally resources driven from men, which women would benefit from, women and the children, obviously, and men would benefit from sexual opportunity and their beauty. But women are still able to draw resources from men now without benefiting from the sexual opportunity and the beauty, aside from maybe a picture, which, let's be honest, Google search it, you can get it for free. So I've done maybe 4 or 5 videos, maybe a podcast or two with that name and the title on the thumbnail. So when they did a search, Rich Cooper comes up. There's a video about simps. And the context of my video, if you look at it, is basically the messaging is something along the line of, this is an unequal exchange of value. You look foolish doing it. She doesn't even acknowledge your existence. You're basically invisible to her. Take your time, effort, and resources and invest it in yourself and make yourself a better man. But this NGO that took $700,000 from the federal government and the Department of Homeland Security, calling it toxic masculinity, again, all of this shit, if Trump is really going to do what he's saying he's going to do, is fucking gone. Okay. All of this nonsense, these stupid reports, these wokeness, these male supremacy scales and all, like, imagine being called a male supremacist for telling guys, don't be a pussy, basically, is what it boils down to. That's what it is. That's all I'm saying, is take ownership for your life and don't be a wimp. Do the work. But that's how they try to manufacture drama, indignation, false narratives. And then what happens as a consequence of that, because they're collaborating with the government, and the government collaborates, the NGOs and the nonprofits and the Department of Homeland Security, they collaborate with the social media accounts, with the exception of platforms like X or Rumble and stuff like that. And then they instruct the social media platforms to throttle back the messaging, which I saw, right? Imagine going from 15 million views down to 2 million views. That's a significant drop. I didn't complain about it. You never heard me say anything about it publicly. I'm just mentioning it now because we're going to see the tide change, I think. But beyond the reduction in the view count, the entire name of the program was diverting hate. Let me just remove this from the screen. The entire strategy was to divert what they called hate. So telling guys not to give away free attention, apparently, in their definition, is hateful. Telling guys to be a better man, be stronger, be more resourceful, be more competent, learn life skills. Don't be a fat guy, go to the gym and work out, learn combat skills. It's useful to you. It's attractive, obviously. They call all of that hate. Isn't that interesting that we live in a world where when you tell guys to take ownership for their shitty results, it's hateful? And they interpreted that because it's not serving the female first primary social order. All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the Courses tab. Newer to the channel? Hit subscribe.